Hi everyone, Missing Joni Mitchell here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Superorganism album, Worldwide Pop. This is a brand new LP, the sophomore LP from UK-based psychedelic indie pop and electronic pop outfit Superorganism. Really a super group of sorts that formed in the UK in 2017. They dropped their debut record a year later. That LP was loaded with loud, quirky, bubbly tracks that were backed with very creative, very dense production. It may not have been my favorite release of the year or anything like that, but there was a lot of potential and great ideas behind what Superorganism was doing on this project, especially with so many creative callbacks to the carefree, weirdo indie pop of the 2000s. So now we have the follow-up, Worldwide Pop, which even the title alone excites me, as I went into this LP hoping that it was going to be some kind of grand pop unification of the world and sound and brightness and positivity, especially with artists like Chai as well as Stephen Malkmus of Pavement fame in the mix on a few features. But yes, I dug my claws into this thing. The 13 tracks, unfortunately, I have found to be a bit of a mixed bag, far less consistent than the band's debut, though it's not for lack of trying. I think the band does take a larger amount of risks on this LP for sure, but the results end up getting on my nerves a little bit here and there, depending on the track. I will say this record does start off with a bang on the track Black Hole Baby, which is some very cheeky, dense, and danceable electropop with funny instrumentation and effects packed throughout, and I'm pretty sure the refrains of "Welcome Back" mostly serves, of course, as a meta-commentary on the band's return on this LP. Frontwoman Arono Noguchi also provides lyrics that kind of detail some of the stuff she's been up to since the release of the last LP. From here we get this sound collage of noises and press reactions to the band and their last record, including a clip from yours truly. The song essentially adds up into a fun first taste of this project overall, and it seems like from here the band is ready to let loose and try just about anything. Even some ideas that are not necessarily flattering, like with the title track where we get, among other things, these really heavy-handed vocal manipulations, grating digital glitches, some semi-rapped verses as well. The whole thing comes together like a really bad Yo Gabba Gabba episode. There's a lot of sounds going on, flying in every direction, and much of it feels like it's just clashing. I found there to be a lot more clarity, especially on the song side with the track On and On. The summery beats, bouncy melodies, and lazily sung choruses kind of put me in a trance, and a nostalgic one at that, because there is something that feels like 90s pop radio about this cut. I also love the sharp lyricism on this track about getting lost in the fast-paced movement of current trends and crazes, and feeling kind of fake in the superficial world we live in. But then there's a tough pill to swallow with the following track, Teenager, and there's a lot of reasons I'm not crazy about this one, but one of the prime ones being Chai's chorus that they provide on the cut, which feels sort of out of tune and out of whack with everything else here. The song does have its moments though, which however is not as much the case for It's Raining, as the tedious beat on this track soundtracks what essentially sounds like a bad piece of New York City hipster hop from the early 2000s, but I suppose with slightly cooler production. There's so much inconsistency with the record past this point, I don't know if I'm going to get a dull headache or a banger, like with the track Put Down Your Phone, which I found to be one of the most needless and preachy commentaries on technology and phone usage that I've heard in a long time. In contrast, the song Flying is one of the most fun and exuberant pop songs I've heard this year, with great group vocals, quickly pumping beats, a very dense instrumental as well. I have to say there is something pretty interesting about the combination of Arono's very steady and even-handed vocals, and then you have the band's very maximal approach to the instrumentation here. It's big and it's colorful like a great Flaming Lips record, but simultaneously there is something very cute and huggable about it, like a Kiro Kiro Bonito record, which is also the vibe on the track Solar System. One other thing I love about this track is that it comes with a plea, with lyrics about having never felt this lonely and needing the universe to change that either by providing something or, being that thing to be close to. Then Superorganism's brand of interplanetary junkyard pop continues on to the song Into the Sun, but with more of a blissful angle. And from here we get a pretty solid final leg. The song CRUSHED.ZIP is a very pretty ballad with loads and loads of sound play, even elements of the instrumental that sound bit crushed to, sort of work with the theme here. And I love that for the most part, the song and the message of the song shines through despite there being so much chaos in this instrumental. There are actually tons of listless lyrical highlights that kind of describe a world and a setting that leaves one feeling kind of drained. And in order to move through it, you're kind of indulging in fantasies or maybe even bad ideas to kind of get you out of the mindset of where you're at or what's bothering you. With one of my favorite lines of the track being, "I'm stuck in a sitcom, should have never been pitched in the first place." The song "Oh Come On" has its moments, but the pacing of the beat is super tedious, and on top of it, just how detuned and woozy and loose all the instrumentation is, it does get quite tedious after a while. I get a lot more out of the very direct and poppy "Don't Let the Colony Collapse." The grandiosity of this track, especially with the huge group vocals, is very classic MGMT. Just this really psychedelic style of synth pop, but with some booming bells and whistles to make it sound specific to Superorganism. And frankly, I'm a little mixed on the closer, "Everything Falls Apart." I do like the messaging and the sentiment the track brings to the table. I do like the heavy use of sound effects and sound collage throughout this track as well. Again, I think it speaks to Superorganism's sound play talents for these songs to be sounding in the way that they do. But with that being said, the tune is not as strong on this one as it is on many other cuts here, and the song structure overall does end quite abruptly, even if I do enjoy some of the stuttering glitches as well as the voice with a French accent calling for the Bluetooth device to be paired at the end of the track to finish things off. But yeah, this new LP overall from Superorganism I thought was mostly fun, not as solid as the last record, but I still think these guys stand out as one of the most interesting and colorful and bubbly and creative acts in pop music today. And there are some amazing highlights on this LP, some of my favorite pop tracks of the year. Just that consistency on the entire record is not quite there, and as a result there are quite a few cuts that I felt were kind of duds. Feeling a strong 6 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Superorganism, forever.